Reverses are always like kind of annoying. Get rid of them. I don't like rip and chippers. I always thought I was a bit of a grey market. I don't agree with it. I agree with some of the scalping that happens there. It's too easy, and people just unfortunately pay ridiculous. Like we've seen 151. Even modern English can be quite bad.
Hey guys, welcome back to Card Crunchers podcast. I'm Poketinking, joined by Pokemike as always, and today we've got a brand new guest on that is Anthony Box Collects. So for those that might not know who you are, did you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Antibox Collects. My business is on JA Cards. Yeah, I've been in the hobby a long time.
Collecting that whole time, you've been there ever since you were 8. What's made you stick to Pokemon for? Because that's a long time, right? So if you don't mind me asking, like, how old are you now? So that's how many years is that?
15-ish, maybe.
15 years. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a
So
bit less.
what's made you stick? Like, that's a long time to stick to collecting cards, right?
I don't know, it's just like it's always been a good hobby. Obviously, over time I was just progressing to doing other things, and it's just worked my way. I don't know how I stuck it out, honestly, through like when I was collecting from like 8 to into secondary school, college, and I don't know how, but I just kept stuck at it, and it worked out alright.
At what point then how did that develop into a business? Because obviously you've got JA Cards, which is a UK business that you buy, sell Pokemon cards, graded cards, sealed product, raw cards, all sorts of different things. So how did that how did you transition from just enjoying it as a hobby to turning it into like an actual full business?
Sometimes things just, I guess, like fall in place nicely, and it was I was in college around COVID. It all kind of we obviously stopped college. We were at home. Then, like I was getting to like right towards the end of college. Didn't know what I was going to do. Don't know what I was going to do. And then like I was buying Watsy boxes in college because they were I don't want to say cheap, but they were a lot more affordable. So you could pick them up for about £1 to £2 each, and it was relatively not. It's not as hard to pick them up now, and they're like 5-10 grand each. So I was just picking a few up here and there, and like I just sat them back. I quite like collecting a lot of different things back then. So I went from like graded cards, like higher end Charizards, and I sold all of them and went to Watsy boxes, just experiment with the hobby, I guess, and collect different things. And then I just sat on them, and then the boom happened, right, and I left, and
Was that
just
the
as I left,
2020 boom? Sorry.
yeah, and then it's a good time to sell, so I was like, yeah, I made a nice amount. So I was like, so I sold them, I guess, and I just kept buying stuff with the money and just kept reinvesting and kind of, I guess, sort of saw it as a business as well, because like it was quite easy back then to like buy and flip quite well because the boom happened, and like a year later, like everything kept going up and up. So all throughout like 2020 to 21, it was quite easy, I guess, I want to say, when you're in the hobby and you've bought and sold a bit over time.
Yeah.
And then I saw it as a business, and since everything's come down, it's a lot harder, but it's still a business.
So
Yeah.
Sorry, go on, Jay.
So when you're buying for the business now, obviously that's a completely separate, I guess, to what you'd be buying personally. What is the thought process in terms of like what you choose to buy? What's in your mind? What's the way up there? Kind of how do you break that down?
I guess like I don't really like personally anymore. I want to say like, a few bits I'll buy, but I'll hold them, and I get quite. I don't. Sometimes I get quite bored of something quite quickly. So like I was buying, I'll try and complete a set, and I'll just give it halfway through, and I'll just sell it. So I guess I don't really collect that much personally anymore at the moment. Do buy a few bits here and there. I quite like Latias and Latias cards. So I've been buying a few of them. The artworks I like, and then I guess like
Yeah.
buying as a business is like obviously I expand into a lot of everything: sealed, modern, single, modern, graded, like Watsy and stuff. And then I just expand to a lot of different things. And then So buying as a business, I guess, like, I do sometimes buy like what I like to personally with the intent to sell, but then I'll hold it and then sell it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's definitely worked for sure for you. I think, you know, obviously you sell singles now for releases. So obviously we've got Obsidian Flames coming out now. Is that a set that you're looking forward to?
Actually, I'm seen a few spoilers. I won't say, but like there's a few really nice cards that I've seen. I try not to look at the spoilers. 'Cause I actually quite like to, like when I was younger, I like to just open a set and enjoy it. Only thing
Yeah.
with social media, you see a lot of spoilers for pre-release and the Japanese equivalent and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to see the set as a whole. And yeah, we'll be doing singles.
Yeah, for sure. That it looks like a great set again, and the same as like Pokemon 151. Obviously, we've had the Japanese release now, and we've got the English in September. Again, I assume that's another product that you'll be probably selling quite a lot of singles of.
If allocations are like amazing, I don't think it's going to be that great, to be honest, because it's going to be quite a popular set. So,
Yeah,
but Obsidian Flames, I definitely will have singles for.
Sorry, going back slightly to when you said about the boom and like your WotC boxes and how it was very easy at that point just to kind of buy anything and just make profit from it because everything was pretty much going up, right? And obviously, I guess you got a lot of money from selling the WotC boxes that allowed you to reinvest in other things to buy and sell and start the business. Is there any other purchases that you made other than sort of the WotC boxes that did really well? I mean, I assume like most of it did well, but were there any particular things that you picked up that, because I feel like with the WotC boxes, it like part of that might be sort of like a bit of luck, like that we bought things before that boom happened. And then obviously it did, and they went really, really high. But yeah, did you have any other purchases that really did well for you to start your business, or maybe at the start of your business that did well?
Yeah, so once I sold them around, must be in early 2020 or something, I can't exactly remember,
Yeah.
but once I sold them, you could still get XY cases with US distributors. So I got quite a nice connection to a store back then. And then I kept buying like Evolutions, Roaring Skies, Primal Clash, Sun and Moon sets, and I was just buying cases.
By the time you sold them, was it what, like 5x maybe what you paid if it was retail? Like
Evolutions was very nice.
yeah.
About 4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah. So what made you decide to do that? Because at the time, right, those boxes were retail. They were still at distributors, and no one wanted them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been sat there, right? They would have been gone. You know, Evolutions, especially for years, was just being chucked in collection boxes. It was cheap, and they obviously had a lot of it. So, like, why did you take money out of WotC, which at the time was growing, and put it into something that, was it just that you could kind of foresee the potential, like, or was it just
Absolutely not.
it
I guess
wasn't?
no, I guess I saw WotC boxes like compared to what I paid versus what I sold them for. It was a good time to sell. I was like, look, it's a good amount of money,
Yeah.
life changing, effectively at a certain point. Might as well sell them because, like, I guess once stuff goes up, I guess you are more tempted to sell, especially if there are very low cost bases in
Yeah.
them. And I guess I really like XY Sun and Moon code. That's predominantly what I opened when growing up. And I guess Evolution still being about £100 a box back then. It's quite easy to buy because that was a really nice set. Not that it was one of my favourites, but then I just kept buying like XY Sun and Moon cases because they were like what I opened up. And I also bought and completed a black and white box set as well.
Yeah, so okay, so it wasn't necessarily like a pure, I think this is, investing in this and it's going to do well.
absolutely
It
not.
was like, I
Then with
remember
the WotC
opening
box, I didn't expect it.
Yeah, true. So it kind of was like you're on a luck streak and just whatever you started putting your money into just kept doing well. I mean, I guess I guess with Pokemon, it's quite similar in the sense that, like, sealed product generally anyway does well long term. So, even if you bought those cases at retail and they didn't go up for, a year or two, eventually they would have anyway. And then obviously, it probably just happened quicker for you than.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that, it would have happened eventually. Like Watsy Box, I don't want to say it would have happened, but Watsy Box is started to climb when I was buying them.
Yeah.
I saw the growth potential. I remember base boxes were like, it's going up to like $3,000, and that was really big. And then
Yeah.
the boom happened, and then yeah.
So, given that some of the decisions you've made are based on like just your personal interests, what you've been attached to, what you've opened as you've grown up, have you made any
Yeah.
decisions in buying things that actually didn't perform well? Like, have you been on the unlucky side of any purchases?
Oh, absolutely. Especially now, it's a lot easier to lose. And also the black and white box set. I didn't overpay for them, but I sold them. I think I don't know when I exactly completed the set, but I sold them end of last year. I broke even on them, but I was fine with that.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff now. I see the volatility in it now. Obviously, Watsy. If you bought Watsy in the boom, it's come down a lot. Sealed and graded. I lost a lot on graded, I guess. Partly, I was just trying to expand, and yeah, it didn't go well. But then now it's sort of flattened out, so Watsy's quite good to pick up. Like a year ago when I was buying it, yeah, it didn't do that great.
So you bought a lot of Watsy raw cards?
Yeah, I've
Or...
got a lot of PSA 10 non-holos, PSA 9 holos. Nothing super high end, just like mid end, like first edition sets, apart from base. These managed to pick up a few base set cards, because I think first ed base PSA 9s are at quite a nice price point now, most of them being under about $1,000 each, the lower end ones. So I picked up them, yeah.
Have you still got those cards that I guess you'd say haven't performed that well, or did you move them?
Sometimes I just see, especially like with Obsidian Flames coming up, 151, or if there's some good stuff coming up that I want to buy, I just sell it at a loss, 10%, 20%. Take it as a learning curve. I think if I held it, it would have probably cost me more in the long run. But I've had them already like a year or two.
Just because you can't use that money to put into something else, is that why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a point where I guess I've learned about. Obviously, I already knew about the volatility, but obviously, I guess you don't see it when you're buying sometimes. But I guess yeah, sort of learned. I'd rather just sell it. If I don't think realistically it would take too long to try and get my money back, or it would, I'll be holding them for too long, so just get rid of them, put them in something else.
Yeah. Obviously, back when I made some Pokemon content quite a while ago, I did have you on for a chat, and it was about, I think, the fact that you had like 6 figures in Pokemon, which is crazy, and that was before you, or was that might have been near the start of you transitioning to like, a business, yeah. And starting it up as a business, right? Because that was probably when you sold your Watsy boxes, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Or when I still had them, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think at the time, I think you were 18. I think that was in the title, the fact that you were 18 years old with 6 figures in Pokemon. And I think like for me and Jamie, like you do kind of inspire us. Your knowledge is and your business knowledge for your age and what you've managed to achieve. And although like I know we've said, some of that was luck in terms of what you've purchased, you've still made choices that I know other people wouldn't make it if they were in your situation. But not only that, you have a syndrome, don't you, that means that you struggle certain things day to day. I know your vision, sometimes you have to look at things really closely. I just want to touch on like what that is and how it affects you.
Yeah, so I have a lot of issues. This would just be an hour long, but yeah, I'm visually impaired. I can't see to save my life, really. So I guess like day-to-day activities don't really affect me in business too much, but outside, well, maybe it does. It would.
So is it
So I
just
guess I sort of don't let it affect me as much as I can. Like, that's why I went self-employed and running my own business. I don't have to worry about too much,
yeah?
like
What
in the day-to-day world of work and all that fun stuff. So I guess and also I'm sort of that way inclined to where I wouldn't. I guess I would want to work for myself, not someone else,
because of
and
the difficulties
have
that
my own time, and yeah.
yeah, obviously you get to be your own boss. So obviously, yeah, it's I guess much more comfortable for you. But what's the syndrome called, and does it just affect your
It's like
eyesight?
Noonan syndrome, quite rare, I'd say. Not most of it is basically your vision, learning difficulties. That's about it, really. A few
Yeah,
other
I
things, but
mean,
that's the main sort of thing. It normally affects like either you're deaf or not deaf, but like partially deaf, I guess, or like
yeah.
your vision and like learning difficulties. And
Well, yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, I think it's like not only what you achieved at such a young age, like, is inspiring and just incredible, but like, I mean, the fact that you've got struggle with your vision and you've got learning difficulties and like the just what you've achieved and the knowledge that you have, like, it absolutely blows me away. Like, it really is incredible, and I hope that just inspires other people, because I know it inspires myself and Jamie. We've talked about this privately a lot, that what you do is yeah, it really is incredible. So yeah, hats off to you for that.
Yeah, I think, I know when I got into sort of Instagram, and I remember, there was a group chat started of all of us in. I remember seeing your account on here, and that was all of the Watsy boxes, and I think you had some EX boxes at the time as well.
yeah, I
Um,
collected
there was like a
gaming
photo of like
boxes,
yeah,
had a few EX.
yeah, yeah. I remember seeing that massive photo of all those boxes, and I thought, I was like, bloody hell, that's ridiculous. I at the time had recently just sold all my booster boxes, so I had none myself, and I thought, seeing that photo, then I realized that you were 18 as well. I think that already is, it gets people talking, and sort of, and if they had known about, the difficulties that, you go through every day, to see that you've, set up this business, you work for yourself, you're extremely successful, and a lot of people know you in the community, to sort of ditto just, what Mike said, but it is extremely commendable, there's a lot of respect here.
Yeah, I guess I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So obviously we know you collect Pokemon. We know you buy and sell Pokemon. Is there any other card games that maybe the last couple of years with all the booms that's been happening? Is there any other card games that you might have purchased on the side, or something you've looked at and thought, you might do that?
No, literally, none of them sort of like a few of them sort of like I wouldn't say really interest me, but like I don't mind watching or looking at them. It's like Swartz, I guess, or Swartz. I don't really care, but I'll get some hate in the comments for that probably from you too. But yeah, I don't mind Swartz. Like I like how they do like Disney, like Chainsaw Man or like anime. So that does interest me a lot. Like, I wouldn't nothing else really like I wouldn't collect it. I guess like
Yeah.
I wouldn't really collect it, but like it does interest me to an extent where I would like look at some of the cards, watch a few wheels and stuff like that. I never really collected
Yeah.
anything else growing up really. I wasn't into Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh. Thought they're more of a long-term ones like Pokemon was. So I guess I always just stuck with Pokemon. I guess one that I know the most about, one that I enjoy the most collecting, selling, buying. And then one that I guess
Yeah.
I grew up with, so I have a lot more of a bigger connection.
Yeah. I think, that's probably a reasoning that resonates with quite a lot of people. The nostalgia effect is something that people can't really have with a lot of other things. So what do you think Pokemon have done well in the last 5 years. So if we go back to 2018 now, in that scale of 5 years, we've had Hidden Fates, we've had the boom. What do you think Pokemon have done, very well with in the last 5 years?
So looking at that, I'd say I really like alternate art. I know they've been boomed, but some of the art is just quite nice. So I think they did do that well. Full art, like tag team, that was another big one. I quite like that. Just artwork in general. Like if you look at, I'm gonna say like sort of like X, Y, and before, the artwork was there, but like it's just another level. It's like going from like basic, where it's just like hollows and not basic, but like hollows and stuff, and like non-hollows. But then you're going to like EX era and Gold Stars, where it's a bit more special. Now we're going from like basic EXs and stuff, and then we're going into like alternate arts, full art, gold cards. I'm not keen on gold cards, I will say that. Some of the art don't look as nice. I do like full arts. I just find with the colour pops a bit more. But yeah, I'd say alternate arts are definitely some of the best, and just artwork in general, they've massively improved on.
Yeah, they've improved massively. I think a lot of people that say that they're not a big fan of modern. I think if they saw some of the artwork that has come out, I think Sword and Shield was an extremely strong era. I think obviously going in Scarlet and Violet is quite basic at the moment, but
it's the start of the set. It's going to happen. The first couple of
Sword and
sets are
Shield at
always.
the beginning
So what?
wasn't the strongest in my opinion. I didn't really open much, but towards the end it massively improved. And now we're in Scarlet and Violet with the I forgot what they're called. It's like the character rares, but they're not called that anymore. I can't remember what they're called, but the artwork on them is just amazing. Like just when you get the ones in the reverse slot, just absolutely amazing. Some of them.
Yeah, I think people forget how cheap a lot of these character rares are, and we often talk about the value of cards and getting expensive cards and stuff, but the sheer amount of these character rares that are extremely, they're a couple of quid each, but they're, you look at, if that was in any other era, if we go back to say Black and White, XY, EX, if that was in that era, these cards would, people would be talking about them in a completely different way. I think it's where we've been so used to them now, we've had quite a few sets of them, and obviously they're not as extremely hard to pull. I think people just kind of forget that they are extremely nice cards, and in a binder, they display better than most cards.
Yeah, I definitely like them. I think long term, I think they'll do well. Short term, they're so cheap. Like when I'm selling singles, some of them are like, most of them are about, I guess I sell on release dates, so they are a bit higher, but most of them you can pick up for around £5-ish, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. But I think for the artwork, I think so nice. Sadly, the condition just isn't there. But
so it sounds like you both think they're underrated, right?
I'd say I wouldn't say they're underrated.
I would say so, yeah.
To the extent
I think
where
they're underrated.
I think a lot of people do see the value in them, but I just think because they're quite easy to pull, I guess it helps the market be quite cheap. I think I do believe that long term they are a nice art, and I think they could do quite well.
Yeah, so potentially pick up some of these ARs of like Gen 1 or popular Pokemon could be a good play, maybe.
151 would be excited to see, because I think from what I've seen, there's quite a lot like of the starters.
Yeah.
There's really nice. There's a few really nice ones. Lost at the top of my head, but there's a few really nice ones that got leaked, and yeah, they look nice. Nidoking, I think, was one of them. Slowpoke.
Yeah,
I think they
I'm
will
excited
really
for Pokemon 5-1.
Yeah, I think with that is always going to be a case of like where they're quite easy to pull. Do you know what the pull rates are for them per box?
It's like 3 or 4, I want to say, maybe. Yeah, I think it's about 3 or 4.
But there's a lot of them,
so
isn't there?
One per sort of. If it's if it's 4, yeah.
There's the normal ones, and then you get, I think, a full art version. That is like an alternate art.
Yeah.
I think maybe you get one alternate art in a box and one like 3 regular. but they're quite easy to pull. But there is like 20 or 30 of them in a set. I've opened up 2 cases of Paldera. I didn't even pull some of them when I was going through the set list.
Yeah. So that for me already, like, as we've just talked about, they're cheap, right? But say you get, it's 1 per 9 packs really, if you're talking about like one sort of 4 per box. The variety that you have in there to be able to complete the whole set would take you, more than a couple of cases. Already to that me, that's, like potentially they could be, although they're quite cheap, good cards to collect. Like in itself, for me, that looks like a subset within a set. Like maybe you don't want to collect the whole of Paldea Evolved because it's massive. But if you just want to collect, the art gallery or character rares from every set, I think that could be something that even in a couple of years, but long term, say 5 years, 10 years or whatever, people will have those, the same regard as to when they were collecting some of the higher rarity stuff where they might not collect every EX era, but they want to collect the EXs from every set.
It's like, I think at the end of Sword and Shield they did introduce them. I know Crown Zenith had them. It was its own mini subset that was quite nice, so you could easily distinguish which ones were from like the special rares or whatever you call them.
Yeah, it's
And,
Trainer Gallery, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Trainer Gallery in Crown Zenith. I can't remember what it's
That
called
was it,
now.
yeah.
They've changed it. But now it's in like part of the main
Yeah.
set. I guess it's a bit more harder to decipher what ones are part of the main set and subset. Well, subset within a set. But I think it was quite nice as like a little mini subset. You can actually go and complete it and it will be numbered nicely. Now it's part of the main set, so I think that would make people want to collect the main
Yeah, I
set
guess
too.
I guess they don't want to make a subset for every set. It's normally just holiday sets only, isn't it, that they're happy to do like a subset
Normally
for.
every now and again, yeah. And we only really had that a couple of times before sort of Sword and Shield era.
Yeah, it had Radiant Collection, I think. Was that
Yeah,
basically it?
Legendary Treasures, Radiant Collection, and
Generations.
in Unseen Forces there was an unknown holo set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. That
Going
would
really
be
far back.
Yeah.
good to distinguish it more, but yeah, I don't think they'd be
I
doing.
think long term, I think it probably is better to have it as part of a whole set. It's just totally numbered, it's easier to collect the whole set.
So as always,
So
go on,
do you
Jay.
think-
Sorry,
oh, go on.
slightly delayed here.
I was going to ask, what do you think Pokemon could do to improve in the next couple of years?
I think just carry on what they're doing. Really focus on artwork. I think the artwork. I guess it's easy. I've said it before. I know it's easy to compare like black and white to XY, what's EX era to WotC, how like better they were, because the artwork just grows over time with like technology and just I guess experimenting and other things. I think artwork they've really nailed down really well, and I will say that is one thing that looks really good and I think would attract more people. So I think that is really good that they did nail artwork down, absolutely smash it. I guess maybe reverses. They're a bit annoying. I guess like if you're completing like a whole set, you want to kind of like a master set. You want to do reverses and non-holos. Reverses are always like kind of annoying. Get rid of them. That's a bit of a hot take, maybe.
Yeah. That's
But I
not
wouldn't
what
say
to
they
get
would.
rid of reverses.
I doubt they'll get rid of them. But I don't think we massively need to improve on too much quality control. Apart from that, yeah, no quality control then. They need to nail that down.
Is there any? Wow, sorry, I'll rephrase it. What's one of the biggest challenges you think you face as a business that buys and sells Pokemon?
I would say there's loads of challenges. I guess like there's always challenges like
Yeah,
trying to sell items, buy an item. Like when the exchange rate hit, that was fun. I get a lot of my PSA stuff from America and other things. not really other things. Like, mainly PSA cards I buy from America, so that was nice. When it was nearly a 1-to-1 ratio.
So yeah, I guess
Not
you've got to juggle your prices depending on different currencies. It can definitely. I mean, that's probably not something that most people, most businesses have to juggle, right? That's probably
No,
quite
I guess
unique to
not. But,
your situation.
I guess like distributors, that's always fun. Like well, I think 151 being nicely heavily allocated. That was exciting. But I will say they have been printing a lot. Like you can literally buy Scarlet and Violet, all Scarlet and Violet sets still at distributors. That's really good that they've finally got enough printed where it's always in stock. That's another big challenge businesses face. A few years ago, it was really hard to get modern because as soon as you bought modern, it doubled thereabouts, and then it just got bought up.
Yeah, it's good to see that they're managing to print more, but also things are still getting allocated, so it's not necessarily where it needs to be. Maybe I've noticed.
Yeah, I'd say for the main sets are quite good. Like I got an email a week ago. I could order more Obsidian and Flames, and I got my allocation. So yeah, for the main sets, allocation's great.
Yeah.
Print numbers are great from what I've seen anyway in the UK, and I'm sure the US is the same. I'm pretty sure it is. Like you can always buy modern now. 151, we always knew it was going to be a nice set to try and find, but it's what you expect. I mean, I expected that, and I'm sure most other people do. But as a whole, print numbers are great, and quite easy to buy modern now at affordable prices.
Yeah, so obviously you're talking about English here, and this is something I want to ask you actually, which is I know you don't really dabble in Japanese, and I'm curious to know why that is, because obviously I'd say go back 6 to 10 months. There's been a huge boom in Japanese. You could have bought pretty much any Japanese silk product, and it just went crazy, right? Why is it that you don't really dabble in that market?
Funny you say that. The last few months, I've been trying to buy some Watsu PSA 10 Japanese hollows.
Okay.
I haven't bought any yet, but I've tried to win some on auction. I do think they are
Right.
quite reasonably priced. For sealed, it's a lot harder, I guess, to buy from Japan in like large quantities. I know you could buy a few boxes from a Pokemon Center, a few from other places, but get a distributor in Japan or a store that will sell you it in mass is quite hard. I know a lot of other sellers. It's not hard. It's not easy, I guess, to get that. And it's sort of, I guess, I've never really dabbled in it. Obviously, I don't know the market well enough to even consider buying it because for the longest time it was really cheaper. Now, a bit like modern in 2020, it's as soon as it comes out released, I've seen people ask double RRP, and yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, and also I guess I do think Japan do have scalping issues like we did with modern, as it just as soon as a new set comes out, it's 2-3 times the price. 151 boxes I think are hitting 200ish, I want to say, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's not nice. So it's not a market that I would dabble in ever. Well, I wouldn't say ever, but definitely for now. PSA cards, I will try and buy some Wapsi 10s because I think they are quite nice.
Yeah, I think that's sort of hit it on the mark. I think for people that maybe just buy and sort of sell English, I think Japanese is definitely probably I'd say quite a bad time to get in now, especially for sealed, in terms of like how hard it is to get product. And retail boxes is 5,500 yen, which is around 35 to 40 pound, and you've got 151 at sort of 200 pound now, which is that would be the equivalent of Scarlet Violet Paldea Evolve being like 400 pound on release, in terms of like that times times X, which would be ridiculous. Obviously, no one would pay that. But I think, what do you think is a contributing factor? A lot of people say that streaming, like, Whatnot and things like that, where people are buying hundreds of boxes to open. Do you think that demand is just naturally scaled, or do you think there's, maybe something else happening?
I think I've heard a lot. I don't know how true some of it is, so I won't touch on what I've heard. It's sort of like, I guess, like some stores aren't allowed to sell outside of Japan and all that other stuff. But a lot of it, I think, is sort of what English faced in the boom. It's just print numbers aren't enough for the demand.
Yeah.
I guess demand in Japan's quite high. Some really good sets, and I know they love their female trainers over there. So I think a lot of it is just getting bought up in Japan. Then you've got the Western world just wanting it to, I guess, to capitalise on it, on the stonkage of female trainers.
Yeah.
I think that is probably a big factor. And I guess just overall,
the waifu tap.
yeah, I think that is. I do believe that is probably a factor, and just I guess streamers. I wouldn't say that's a huge thing. It's unfortunate when you see people scalp it, but and that can't be helped. You can't stop them, but it is unfortunate that you can't get product cheaper anymore. But I think it will probably settle down, just like what English did a year or two after. People just move away from it. The next thing happens. Waifu female trainers slowly come down. I think they already have, actually, from what some of the ones I've seen. And yeah, it will retrace, and hopefully get back to normal at some point. But I think 151 was definitely expected. Like, if you've been in the market long enough, I think it was always going to be a set that would sell out, even in modern, like in English and Japanese.
Yeah, I think Pokemon 151 is definitely the set of the year. I think for anyone that's watching this that, is interested in 151 and might be worried about in terms of like allocations. Obviously, if you look back at every holiday set in English, the release is always massive. It's a bit hard to find product, but if we know one thing, Pokemon with English product now, they will print to oblivion. So it might be, having to wait a little while. Yeah, it'll be everywhere. But it just might be a bit hard on release.
Yeah, hard at release, but hopefully give it a few months. Just like some of the other things we've seen massive reprints of other sets. Silver Tempest just got a massive restock in the UK. Charizard UPC got a massive restock and reprint in the UK in the beginning of the year. And prices have come down since then. Yeah, I think we will see 151 print. I don't think holiday sets or like subsets, they don't print as much, I want to say. I do believe that they don't print as much. It's sort of like, they print it for a short amount of time. You don't normally see reprints of them, but I do think they will print enough over maybe the next 6 months, hopefully, where it will just settle the market down a bit and everyone can get it at retail.
Yeah.
So just want to know, we normally ask pretty much every guest this. Do you have any hot takes on Pokemon TCG?
I was thinking about this. I wouldn't say I have loads. Like, I guess I said the reverse is more on the annoying side of collecting a set. I don't like. I don't like rip and shippers. I always thought I was a bit of a grey market. I don't agree with it. I agree with some of the scalping that happens there. It's too easy, and people just unfortunately pay ridiculous. Like we've seen 151. Even modern English can be quite bad. The only thing I'd say.
So is it just the prices that you don't agree
Yeah,
with?
I know what they're probably getting it for, and just the margin they're making. I don't agree with it. I think it is a market that, I guess you say unregulated, but you can't regulate it. But I'd say it's like sort of a market where people take too much advantage of people.
Interesting. So yeah, purely price, and purely because. Do you think it leads to like scalping sort of prices?
Oh,
Then?
absolutely. I think it is what we had in. It's almost as bad as what we had in the boom. It is not too bad, but it's not as bad. I'd say. Like it is a market where I would say it is sort of like it is taking advantage. I'd say at some point, and I think some people do.
As in taking advantage of the
Like
people buying
collectors,
it.
people just want to open packs. So I'd say for the most part, you can normally get packs cheaper from like a store and open them yourself. I don't. Also, I've never got the point of watching someone open your packs for you. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why you'd want that. I'd understand sort of like really big people in the hobby, but even then, I still don't understand fully.
yeah. So I guess I guess the thing is, I'm pretty sure they would be aware they can pick up the packs cheaper. I don't think anyone purchasing on those types of things is unaware that they can go and get some packs cheaper. I think.
I'd agree to a certain extent. I do think some people see like I do think it is easier to like it's like when you're bidding on an auction. You see it and you can open it there and then. So it's easier to pay more, but I guess I do understand paying a certain premium. I guess if like bigger people in the community, but it still doesn't sit right to me with the prices some people charge. It is just doesn't sit right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess the main problem is there isn't any way to say this has to be sold at this price, does it?
No, it's like I think I've seen a few whatnot things happen over the last few months, and they don't seem to really have much interest. I think they are changing some of their guidance on it. I've seen someone like taking packs off stream. You can have that. There's issues around that sort of thing, and I just don't see it getting really. It's not avoidable. It's gonna happen. You get people who pull a card, say it's for someone else, say it was a mistake, take it off camera. You're gonna get that as well. It's unregulated, and I think scamming is gonna happen in it. I'd see it happening more as we get to like 151 and a few other bigger sets. If we see anything huge, it's just gonna happen.
Cool. Jamie, have you got anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think the definitely the whatnot, like rip and ship sort of thing. I do agree on some of those points. I think it would be quite unavoidable for some things. Obviously, you can ban certain accounts, certain streamers and stuff if they do things, but people, like anything, are going to be trying to take advantage. I think it's a lot easier to not see that when somebody isn't sort of doing things like rip and ship. You see certain stores like Japan to UK, for instance, which I'm calling out, who in the past have sort of bought stuff quite cheap and sold it for massive amounts. But I think they are running a business, and I guess it depends, on whatnot, sort of how they want to move. I think they sound like they're probably going to try do some things, but I think there's always people trying to, unfortunately, take advantage.
I do like eBay Live. They've only allowed certain people to go live in the US at the moment. It's all really big accounts, like trustworthy people who are in the community and that have more of a presence in it.
Yeah.
And I think some of these other streaming platforms, they just let anyone on. I've seen it. They message you. I'm not going to call anyone out, but they will message you, and then I don't think it's that hard to get an account up and running with them. To then, if you wanted to do anything malicious, you can. But eBay Live is a lot more like they only allow certain people on at the moment. I think that's a good thing, and it's gonna help towards this happening on there compared to other platforms where it's not regulated. They don't really care who goes on there.
Is there not the same issue with
Yeah.
prices on eBay Live?
I've seen a lot of people are what it is. what the market is on there,
So
and a
normally,
lot of it is auctions as well. Like
Yeah.
you got, and then I don't. There's not too many people that open packs on eBay, so it's quite nice because it is a bit like I like to bid on auctions a lot, and like opening packs is, I wouldn't watch it.
oh, so it's not that they've got quite a lot of lives that are just so.
Like
Yeah, I mean,
auction
eBay
live.
Live
It's
is
not-
it, are they literally just auctioning something that they would have had on eBay anyway?
Yeah, like it's a bit like the other platforms, like single cards, PSA cards, and then you got the option. Some people sell packs or boxes and
Yeah.
stuff to open, but it's not. It's more like I guess you have to be more competitive to the market on eBay because there's thousands of sellers on there, so you have to be priced reasonably on there. So it's not easier to like. It's not as hard to I guess it's easier to keep your prices lower. You have to be more competitive to other people on eBay. Otherwise, well, for else, you got like the streaming platforms where you can't really compare other sellers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Obviously,
Yeah, I am
like
too.
you said, it's
I'm
US only at the moment. But
yeah, from what I know, it's US only, and it's not many people. They are expanding it, so I do hope that they do expand it to worldwide and other people soon. But we'll see. I don't think it'll happen quickly, but I think it's a good progression of what they've done so far.
yeah, hopefully we'll see JA cards on there ASAP.
Not affiliated. I don't know. I actually don't.
Watch your space.
Yeah, cool. Wow, thank you very much for coming on. Yeah, as always, like we'll put your information down below in the description on the YouTube channel. And yeah, I mean, I love talking to you, love picking your brains, just because, yeah, what you've managed to achieve is to me just always blows my mind, and it's the success you've had. Although some of it may be luck from WotC and Evolution.
A lot of it, like, at the beginning.
But regardless,
I will
yeah, you definitely still made decisions that I know not everyone would have made. You know, some people would just take that money out and not reinvested it or not started a business and,
Waste it.
you know, decided to do something else, right? So, yeah, hats off to you and thank you very much for coming on, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.